Hello everyone, we are back. Pedro Lara, comic book artist. I am working on doing the inks for this piece, which is one of the last frames of my comic for Webtoon Canvas Call to Action Contest. What is this? Is the previous drawing? The previous drawing was going to be a strike, but I didn't like it. I changed it to a hammer punch. I think looks way more. This one does looks okay, but this one looks powerful. Call to action contest is about creating an action comic. This action comic needs to have at least one fight scene between the two characters, and this is basically going to be the end of the scene, and it's at the end of the script. So we are reaching the final moments. Okay, this we have a little bit more of overkill. Then the village is safe. Little bit of text. This character has always looked way too big here. Way too big. This character. E something like this. Like maybe like this. Because it's closer, right? Something like this. And these ones can be like this. Let's bring them closer to the camera. They are more important. So see, that's how you create a scene. For conversation, and this one is, I think, is hard to draw, but this one is easy. Hard. There are children in here. It's a little bit harder. There's a lot of people here. It's harder. So the comic gets too hard at the end. And then this guy comes along with bad news, and it's the end. I make small poster. Don't look in this head. Why this head looks so ugly? This head looks so ugly. I will have to redo it. Man, looks ugly. It's like super huge head. So ugly. The head doesn't have to be that big. I think I'd reduce it now by the third time, that head. And the message from the creator. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this comic, please like, leave a comment. This will help us enormously. This text is not final, but that's the sentiment. Okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Gotta work fast, but I want to make these final ones really, really cool ones. Especially this one, this hammer punch. I want it to look very professional, very pristine. It's something that you will see only from a professional comic book, like for I don't know for Shonen Jump, something like that in Japan. That kind of quality I wanted to have. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but that's the plan. That's what we are looking for. Okay. Thank you, everyone that is watching right now. You can leave your comments in the chat. Questions, if you have any questions, want to know anything about the process, how I made it, why, I will be happy to answer any questions. If you have any plans or ideas for your own comic, I will happily also check it out and see if I can give you any pointer, any advice that you are free to follow or disregard, and I won't be mad at you at all. And don't know. Maybe after the contest, this can be a reviews channel or something like that. I don't know yet. It's not that I'm going to review Spider Man or Superman at all. I'm going to review your comic, your ideas. Give you not, I don't know if it can be called advice. I don't know if it's advice what I'm going to give you. Maybe I can give you some kind of brainstorming for ideas, so you can see which one of those ideas you like better, right? So it's not advice. It's not that I'm telling you what is the correct thing to do. How can I know? But I can give you some brainstorming ideas for your comic. Okay, so for this drawing, I researched a lot of uh, back anatomy, because I wanted to look very solid, very solid. I want you to feel that this huge guy is hammering the other guy in the ground with all his might, right? That is the kind of advices that I will give you. Like, okay, you have this scene. Why don't you make it even stronger? Why don't you make it harder? Okay, a lot of back muscles anatomy, but you don't want to like make the muscles super evident, right? You want to, because he has some clothing in here, So you want to have some of the folds. You want to have some resemblance that he is wearing something, otherwise it's confusing and weird. I think for this one I didn't use 3D at all because I was looking at references, and yes, there is no 3D information here, nothing at all. The information that is here is the drawing from before, because I wanted to have the feeling of the transition and transitioning from this drawing into this one. All right, and nothing else. What is this one? Is the old one, the one that didn't make it. Okay, that's another good idea. Uh, if you're working in your scene in the comic, and is something very sequential, right? Like from this action goes straight into this another action, right? So it's very sequential, and you're working on digital. You can just copy previous drawing that you did and paste it with with a little of transparency in the background, and you start doing your your drawing, taking into consideration what happened before, right there in front of your eyes, so you don't have to go back and forth checking the art. It will save you some time, and it will help you make the transition even smoother. I cannot pronounce some words. Pedro. And creating the black fields layer. So I'm feeling the blacks. This is going to be black. Just making sure the color doesn't escape. And that's it. It's pretty much. So this will have a lot of blacks. I think black is kind of my signature. It's a very special color for me, black. Uh, the inks are black, and inking is my favorite stage of the art. I don't think I am a very good penciler or I am very good colorer, but I think the inks are where I shine, right? So I didn't start these channels when I was doing the pencils. I didn't want to make a fool of myself in front of you. I started when I was doing the inks. It was planned that way. I was like, okay, if I'm going to expose myself in front of every word, in front of the word, I'm going to expose myself in front of the word, I will do it while I am doing inks, because I think they will have a better impression of myself. I am that insecure I am that introvert that I don't want to show you uh, when I suck. I wanted to show you when I'm thriving. Those are my insecurities. Okay, so I think the black is the style. Is my style is black. That's how I will call it. I would call it black style. And in fact, this comic doesn't have enough black. They make it too bright, too colorful, like you see it. No, everything here is like here. This is going to be very colorful, except for the hair. Or this is going to be super colorful. Also, this and this. He has a lot of black. This is going to be very colorful, right? So everything is very light. This is not so dark. It's kind of dark fantasy because I asked the script creator, please create something that is a little bit. It has hints of H.P. Lovecraft. Some hints of a space horror, and it's in there for the ones that have eyes, curious eyes to see. They will see the space horror aspects hidden in the art. I'm going to give you an example. They are here celebrating the victory and everything. This mountain, what the hell happened? It's a meteor. Meteor went crashing down the mountain. And that meteor came from space uh, thousands of years ago. And something was within that meteor. Something was in there. Okay? So it had hints and I have things in the lore of the story, which I know. I know everything that happens probably 500 years ago until the events that happens in the story. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to bore you with all that sh- uh, shit, and I'm not going to bore you in the comic either. I'm just going to give you the action. But the action is fundamental, and the thing is there. So the horror and the darkness is in there. Is in the story. Is in the lore. In the background. But the comic itself is very colorful, very bright, because I wanted that energy. I wanted a colorful and nice looking energy into the comic. Probably nostalgic energy, like the comics of all kind of energy. Comics of all kind of energy. I realized that I was old when I showed this comic to some younglings. Some younglings on Webtoon Canvas Discord server, and they went, "Oh, so yours is an old school. It's an old school. It's an old school comic, right?" And I was like, OMG, my art looks old school already. I am old. My art looks like something from the past. But I still think when with colors it's going to look more modern, a little bit more modern with colors. Probably it looks a little bit 90s. And for me, 90s were I don't know, a couple of years ago, but actually 90s is 30 years ago. 30 years ago. But I learned to draw in the 90s comics. So my comics have this 90s look and feel. And probably that's what these guys were talking about. They were seeing 90s, which is 30 years old, and they say old school. They were right. They were right. It's me, the one that doesn't have a good self awareness. It's like when you go into a restaurant when you are in your early 30s and they tell you, uh, are you coming along? Are you expecting something, sir? And before it was like, do you have your ID? I'm not going to give you any drinks before you give me your ID. Where is your ID? You look like you cannot, that you don't have drinking age. And then one day it's just, welcome, sir. What do you want to drink, gentlemen? That happens. Okay, check. I'm just checking around because I want the drawing to be fucking badass. Fucking badass. I want badassery here, guys. I want badassery. I'm not sure about this anatomy. Probably it's not the best anatomy ever, but I think the pose. The pose is good. The pose is badass. So you know, you know how it goes. If it looks badass, the fundamentals can give a little bit of leeway to the drawings, right? The fundamentals can take a second seat if the drawing is badass already. If the drawing is not badass, fundamentals take first seat. Fundamentals say what's what, right? If the fundamentals are not working, then you're in trouble. You got just a couple of options. Can you fix it and make the fundamentals work? And if not, if you have fucked it up very much, the other option you have is erase it and do it from scratch. Erase it and do it from scratch. when you're doing it from scratch, and since you erase it and you know you're wasting time, you're going to think where you will have your fundamentals very present in your mind, very present, because you don't want to do things over and over and over again. This is exhausting, so tiresome, so bothersome to do things over and over again. So you do it wrong the first time. Okay, okay, it's okay to make mistakes, but now you gotta fix it. So you want to do it. Okay, this it's not perfect, but it's okay. It works. Has better fundamentals. Has better perspective. Better storytelling. Better line work. Line weight, etc., etc. So this is his ass. He's very strong and firm ass. These are heroes, guys. They have heroes asses. What do you expect? Lame ass asses? I won't do lame ass asses. Not on my comic, not on my watch. I'm not here for doing lame ass shit. To do badass shit. That's what I'm going to do. Badass. Seri. Poaches. The poaches were really uh, famous trope on the comics of the 90s. Well, I am not using the poaches as a comic trope from the 90s. It's just because these guys are soldiers, and these soldiers' pants, when I research it, all have lots of pouches. What do you want me to do? They look cool. They give the character certain, I don't know, like he looks more ready for action because he has pouches. He's saving some stuff in there. Probably blood packs for his vampire friend, or snacks for his doggy. You don't know, but he's ready. By the way, the doggy is lost in all these scenes. I just didn't know what to do with him, so I just didn't draw it, and that's it. Just don't know what to do with a character. Just don't draw it. That's another advice. Don't know what to do? Don't do. Do only when you know what you're going to do. It's better to have stupid plan than no plan at all. Plan is better than no plan. So if you don't know what to do, don't do it. Don't do it just yet. Wait a little bit, make a little bit more research, maybe a little bit more brainstorming, test your idea with somebody that you trust that is going to tell you the truth. He's going to tell you, hey, Pedro, that idea sucks. That idea sounds like shit. That is your friend. Your friends can say that. Your out, your what is the name? Your acquaintances. Your acquaintances, they are not going to tell you the truth. Acquaintances don't tell the truth. Friends tells the truth, right? Acquaintances are going to tell you, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, they don't want to have any trouble with you, but your friends are going to tell you that sounds stupid. It sounds very stupid. I think it's what was the name? This guy Lee, Stan Lee. Stan Lee say, if you know you have a good idea, don't let any idiot stop you from realizing, from acting on that good idea of yours. So you ask your friends, and your friends may tell you that's stupid. It's okay, it's okay. Don't be stubborn, because listen why they think this is stupid, because you may be blindsided. Mm, maybe your idea needs a little bit of correction, but maybe your idea is just fine, they just don't get you. And it's not that they don't get you, it's that you didn't explain yourself well. And make little adjustments. And if you know you have a good idea, do it. Or try it. Try your good idea and see what happens. And then you will realize if it was a good idea, yes or no. One way to know if it's a good idea or bad idea, people react to good ideas. People say something. They give you feedback. They they help you out. They care. Maybe your execution is not the best one, but they starting to care about your idea. But if it's a good idea, people don't give a crap. Don't give a crap. They just won't tell you anything. You will get zero engagement from people. It's a bad idea. So silence is your hint. When you only get silence, you need to refine it. Or if you get haters, now you're in a good track. If you do something and you start to getting haters, they are not just being haters. They are caring very a little bit too much about what you're doing, a little bit too much, and they are hating it. Caring a little bit too much is a lot of engagement. So you're into something when you start to get haters. Only people that accomplish something gets haters. People that are doing nothing gets nothing. Nothing. Nobody that is doing something important do it without the hate. If you get hate, you're into something. Just don't be hateful. know the difference, right? Just don't be hateful. Just don't start offending people just to get your hate back, and then say some kind of confirmation bias. See, I have the hate, therefore I'm up into something good. No, 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 you're just being a little bit douchey. No, no, no. Be respectful with other people's opinions. Just keep doing your business. Don't offend, or don't try to offend. You may offend, but you are not trying to offend. You're just doing your stuff, and that's it. See what happens. Make your best effort possible until your hands bleed. That is a good indicator that you're doing your best possible. You're bleeding, you're in pain, you're suffering, you're almost crying, you're almost break. That means you're working okay. You're doing you're doing all that you can. I am in a lot of pain right now. My fingers are hurting, my wrist is hurting, my back is killing me. And I have been doing like 6 hour sessions today, and probably I'm going to do probably 3 or 4 hours more. So give your all. Give your all. Put a lot of energy and give your all in something and see what happens. See what happens. Some inspiration quotes. Wow, wow, wow. I think I made it. Well, it's 37 minutes. So it's about good timing. 37 minutes. Time flies. Okay. I want to make all the rocks, then the burst, then his feet, and then the monster. Maybe these rocks. I just don't want to overlap elements so fast. I have a plan of attacking the inking. It's not just going from top to bottom and ink. You're looking for surfaces and overlapping elements, and most probably from front to back, right? You want you want to draw this rock first before drawing this hand, but this hand first before drawing the rocks that are behind the hands, and so on, so on. It's like the opposite of watercolors. Watercolors first you lay like water and a very pale atmosphere color, very very pale, almost no ink into the paper, but that pale color is going to give you so much uh, I don't know how to say it, like teeth, for the next colors. I'm going to give you some fundamental hue for the next colors to rest upon. So you go from back to bottom, back to front, and you try to create your scene in a way that the colors in the back are really pale, 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 and the colors are more saturated and more saturated the more forward they are until The very foreground is the most saturated colors. That's how you make watercolors. But inks is the complete opposite. Inks, since it's 100% black, there is no options, there is no hue options. And so it's just 100% versus 0%. Let me give you an example. If I hide this layer and the fill one is just black, you just have two options: full brightness and full darkness, nothing in between. Okay, the in between is going to be the colors. The in between is going to be the colors. So since you don't have anything to work in values, you go from the foreground to the background. It's easy. What's going on, kitty? My kitty is like snoring. It's having like a dream. Okay. See, very difficult to define these rocks if the fist is not there first. Very difficult. Just going to make all these rocks really fast, one by one. Kitty is snoring a lot. Okay. And I made like the word hammer here, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I don't know. Maybe it's bad taste. Maybe. Boom. Should I use a curve better? A real curve instead of my hand? I'm making a weird angle. Oh, the pencil is going. Oh. think it's a hand movement. So if I use my hand, it's better expression. It's better expression to use my own hand. Okay. These rocks, these are not random rocks. Looks random, but they are like giving you the impression of a very heavy impact into the floor. That's what I wanted to accomplish with this. Okay. Very heavy impact. This rock is like a character. You go thinking of them as a three-dimensional object, right? So this looks like a car looking from the top. Like this is the windshield. Here's the engine hood. This is like the side windshields. That's kind of the shape that it has. So you get a random shape or a particular shape. Think on that shape and make your drawing 3D. Okay. This one I am thinking that this is like a hexagon. See? It's like a hexagon. Kind of. And then I alter the shapes a little bit to make it look complicated, make it look complex. So it's not so easy for you to see my trick, which is basic shapes. That's my trick. I'm using basic shapes, but you are seeing very complex rocks, very complex shapes. It's a trick. And I need to hide my hand so you don't see it. Okay. This one that I'm drawing here is like this one, like a hexagon, but a little bit larger. A little bit larger and has this section here. So maybe it's like an arrow. It's like something like this. See? Can be also like a I don't know what's the name of this tool, right? Or this this like a flat screwdriver. The point of the flat screwdriver. Or like a penis. It's a huge penis. Okay? See, very simple shapes. Simple shapes. How you do to make all this complicated stuff? Well, one way to create complicated stuff is to create a lot of simple stuff all in a bunch together, right? Then you have complicated stuff. And that's also the key to resolve something complicated. Make groups of that complicated things into groups or more simplified elements. And then you can see it more clearly. This is also the key to create like a complex project, difficult project, like a comic book. It's a difficult project. It's one of the hardest things an artist can do. So if you want to do everything at the same time, it's overwhelming and impossible. So you need to break the every all the sections of the process into smaller, simplified sections of the process. Now you can work upon it. So I have some burst here. See, I don't know how to attack this burst. I just made a lot when I was doing the pencils. When I was doing the pencils, I was going just by the feeling, by the flow, not too technical. Now the inks are technical. So I break a little bit of the puzzle in the pencils, but I wasn't too preoccupied on fixing all the puzzle, right? It's just fixing a little bit. It's like finding all the pieces in the puzzles that look the same color. And then in the next stage, you try to find the shapes that these pieces of the same color create in the puzzle. So I start to define the inks, but in the inks is not everything solved. I left open some questions in the drawing that are going to be answered with the colors. The colors is like the last stage of answering the puzzle of the drawing that I'm trying to do. It's like a puzzle that doesn't exist. It only exists in your head. A drawing only exists in your head. You have an image in your head and you want to bring it into the world, but you cannot make it all at once. You have to break it into pieces in your head. Go little by little with those pieces. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Sometimes your pencils are really good. Sometimes your pencils are really defined and they solve probably almost everything and leave basically no imagination for the inker. The inker, the only thing that the inker got to do is just do it as you see it. As you see, what you see here is what you gotta do. I think like this part that I'm doing is very solved. It's very realized. You can see that there is not much improvement. I'm just doing the inks execution as best as I can. So the inks looks professional, but the drawing already solved it. Not too much to solve in here. Okay. I think here I wanted to say black. I wanted to say this is black. I'm going to make it black. Okay. Just shake how it looks. See, it looks decent. Looks presentable. Doesn't need to look super perfect because remember there is still another layer of information which is going to be the colors, right? So it doesn't have to read like perfectly. If it was a manga, now it's another story. Probably it needs to read better, right? Because there's no other information. Mangas are black and white. There's no more information. It's what you see is what you get in black and white. So they have a lot of textures, and these textures helps them make a very badass look to the comic, I believe. My hands. I'm not going to make it today. I need to finish this one and probably a couple more. See, so I didn't draw here because the burst is going to be here. I'm drawing until a certain point, and I am not adding the details in the inside either because maybe I have another burst here. Let's see. Yeah, in fact, I have another burst there. So I'm going to have the burst. So the color is going to resolve that. Color is what's going to resolve this shape, because I may add a shape, the color of the boot, and inside the burst some pale color of the boot. The shape is finally defined in the last stage of the frame. See, I want to be a little bit not too graphical here, a little bit confusing. Don't want people to think that I'm just going gratifying violence. It's hard. It's hard because they want action, dynamic, powerful action, and fights. They want a fight, and fights are, is a violent affair. But you can go with some non-violent fights, like a fight of wits, a fight of tennis, a fight, a tennis match, and you avoid all the violence, but you choreograph as a fight. That would be really cool, actually, to see. That would be really cool. This, I think, is like the head of a snake. The head of a snake or a huge penis. You choose. But Pedro, you're doing penises all over. If you had a good imagination, you can see penises all over, everywhere, and you can see other things too. This is going to be black. Let's add the black. Yes, right now. Need a better angle for this. I'm going like my wrist is hurting. Maybe need a better angle for the tablet. Tablet. This, if this one was like a snake, this is like a squish at the snake. Just a little bit more of the same. And this is like a raven. This one is like a raven. One of my first like character designs that I made for a comic of my own. I was looking at stones in the floor, like a floor full of stones. So what is this? Like stones, plates, and the stones have colors in the stone, like marble, right? Like marble stone. Like smoky shapes in the stone. And I started to draw the smoky shapes. Those smoky shapes inspired me to create characters. And, and then I started. I had like 12 years. They say there are people that cannot see shapes, like abstract shapes. Like when you see a cloud and you say, oh, the cloud has the shape of a dragon. Some people cannot see that. My my brain is the opposite. I see things everywhere, everywhere. Sometimes it's like being under drugs. Sometimes it's a little bit trippy. Sometimes it's like the shapes start to move and melt. If I look at a shape in something like in a cloud or in a wall or in the floor, anywhere, and if I keep seeing the shape starts to move, and it's weird. Probably it's dementia. Probably I am a little bit crazy. Let me know in the comments what you think. Does that happens to you? Are you able to see shapes and forms on rocks formations and clouds that nobody else is seeing? Can all your friends see the same shit? Do you have some of your friends that cannot? Have you asked them? Do you really know your friends? Do you really know the people that you're hanging out with, who they are? Let's see. Let's add black and see what happens. I think I went for black in here too. So I don't want it to complicate myself a lot, doing way more rocks than I will want. And I just did black. Yes, here is just black. Too much time has passed since I made these pencils. Too much have I inked before I get to this point, the other panels. So I forget my decisions. I forgot my decisions. I forgot why I made them and what was I thinking. Okay, so see, this area seems defined, so now I can ink with more confidence. right? More confidence of what I'm doing. Can even fill up with black so it looks consistent with the rest. Gonna save, and that's going to help me to rest my hand a little bit. Okay, I think it's ready. Ready saving. Let's keep going. Now the monster. This is blood. This is blood. But also the blood is helping me to do something, which is, even though it's blood, I am hiding the violence because you cannot see his face being just squashed into the stone. You cannot see it. And probably this blood is going to be almost all black. Almost all. Going to leave like here some hint that is going to be red. And everything is black. Now it looks red, looks more violent, right? Looks like blood, but it's going to be actually going to be like this. So if you're not putting attention to the art, may look just like another shadow from the rocks. Just another shadow. So it's hidden in there. And the eye goes like broken. So it's gone. I think probably it's almost dead here. It's not just knockout, it's more than knockout. It's like almost like a bullet to the brain. Basically, that hammer punch that he is receiving there, it's almost like a bullet directly to the head. Bullet. The damage is massive. Massive damage. Somehow I am making the arms like thinner here. He doesn't look that heavy now. It's like all the muscles just they just relax there. They just relax. He's long gone. Long gone at this. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't want it to to wake up again. So he just finish it. He don't want that thing to come and wake up and keep fighting. So he just obliterates it. There are some anatomy in there, some muscles. Very powerful punch. I did those shadows like if this was standing, but it's not standing. He's upside down. So those shadows don't apply. He's upside down. Got to think like that. Probably I was making the drawing like this. Probably I was making the drawing like this. And then turn upside down the paper, right? Now that it's done, I can ink it upside down and see all the mistakes, all those small mistakes. Hmm. Here is the leg of the dog, but I didn't draw it. I don't know because there's going to be all this burst. In fact, I should stop right now because all this burst is first. I need to move the paper because the burst is a lot of lines, and if I am doing all those lines at a weird angle for my wrist, it could be hurtful. Could be the last lines I make in the night. My computer going hot. Is my computer? Oh, it's going hot. It went so hot early in the morning. Oh no. Default. Come on. Okay. I think since this is the last sheet of paper of the whole document and the document is really big, probably the memory somehow is loading all the other things, all the other document, all the like the past of the document, the past sections of the document, and it's and the document is getting really heavy. I haven't checked it out how much this document weighs. Should I check it out right now? Let me see. I need to set my mouse to left hand because my right hand is hurting so much. If I use the mouse, it's not resting. So the document, the pages from 1 to 5, it's 1 gigabyte and a half. 1.5 gigabytes is this document that I'm working with. You know what? I'm going to back it up. I'm going to back it up. This session is big document that you don't want it to lose. It would be like the end of me if that happens. Way too much information. A single document. Okay, the burst is ready. I want burst here in the back. Other thing that cannot happen is this drawing table to my function. This is drawing table my function I cannot complete. I'll have to get an emergency one like the same afternoon. And I cannot make that kind of investment at this moment. I think I have a Wacom one, which is not like a monitor, not a tablet. It's just a surface. The same, but that will help me finish if something happens here with this tablet tomorrow, say, or tonight. Parallel lines, fellas, parallel lines. All next to the other. We learn to do that. Practice. You use your shoulder, not your hand, for that kind of technique. You don't draw with your hand, you draw with your arm. My arm hurts because it's in the same position holding the pen for many hours. But I also have like a little bit of shoulder pain because it's my shoulder the one that moves when I make lines around the document. Gonna make the legs, gonna make the legs of the dog here. Going to make it without no reference. For these small lines, I did use my fingers, right? I do use my finger for those smaller lines. Here, I am like making a combination of my wrist and my elbow, and a little bit of the shoulder. Like the whole arm is moving. It's not just it's not just the wrist. It's not just the hand. It's not possible. It's not possible to draw with just the hand. If you are doing that, you need to reassess your technique, drawing technique. You can tell me, but Pedro, I am drawing perfectly fine with just moving my hand. Okay, let's talk in 10 years. Let's talk again in 10 years, and let me know how's your hand doing. How is your drawing hand feeling? You are damaging your tendons. You are damaging your muscles, and even probably creating deformities in your hand. I think that was one of the things that I learned on the art college and on architecture on university. Studying architecture, architects were like use your whole hand and elbow and arm and shoulder to create a long straight line and parallel lines in a fast movement. You cannot do that if you go with your just your wrist, and then again with your wrist, and it looks like shit. You use all your of your movement looks pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. Your hand is a precision weapon. Precision. Your arm, not just your hand. Your arm is precision. It's not a blunt weapon. Oh, this is almost there. Okay. What we are missing from here is the metallic texture, right? That's what's missing here. So let's get done with it. Second. Our sweater is getting harder here. There it goes. One second. Need to check out my messages. Okay, all fine. All fine. Keep going. High CPU percentage. I have high CPU percentage. Probably it's because this new software that I'm using is feeding the stream with, I think, 60 frames per second. My monitor is 60 frames per second. So what you see is what I see. It's exactly the same thing. So I think that this is why it's acting out my computer a little bit. Probably you don't see anything, but I see the alerts. Those are my shapes here that needs filling. No. What I have here is like muscles. More muscles, more muscles. The more I draw this, the easier it's going to be in the color stage. Very easy. This is the leg. Probably you don't see very much because it's just obscured by the velocity. Okay. Ah no, it's not 60 frames. It's 30 frames. Scale to 100%. City frames. It's not. It's a smaller 720p. It's smaller resolution. So you are not seeing what I see. You are seeing a cheaper version of what I see. Thirty frames per second is better like the 5 frames per second that I have before. What I need is a very badass Mac computer, last generation, the newer ones with new CPUs, and probably that one is going to have enough horsepower to allow me to draw with documents that have 3D elements and to send streaming information at 60 frames per second. As of now, my computer is a good computer, but wasn't ready for that kind of streaming when it was made. God forbid, 4K. It's just don't. It's not in existing. It doesn't exist in the computer system. This computer has probably about 5 years or more than 5 years, probably six, maybe getting closer to seven. But when I purchased it, it was very powerful computer. It has how many? 30, like 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's obscene, obscene. So the run is never over like 40%, 14%, or 15%. But the CPU is getting into the 60s when I'm drawing this to the 60s. So I'm going to close a couple of those to create the gradient. Maybe here, 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 and here, and here. Okay, and here. So everyone that is close is going to have gradient, and let's get started. The gradient, I do it with the fingertips. I move the fingertips very fast, and at the same time I'm moving the wrist downwards, and gradually, like the speed of the fingers is the same, but gradually the speed of the wrist goes down faster, so the distance in between the lines is greater. It's very calculated movement that requires a lot of practice, but you can do it. Once you get it locked down, what's the exact movement, you do it without thinking. So it's not that hard, it's complex. It's complex to move. It's several movements at the same time, but it's not hard, it's complex. There's a difference. There's a difference between complexity and hard. Hard is difficult to achieve. Complex is just several movements at the same time. Several different movements. Oh, this hand. I forgot this hand. Completely forgot this hand. Let's make it real quick. Don't think about it too much. If you think, you lose. Let's get the fundamentals in check. And that would be it. Fundamentals here is do not touch the borders, the edges. Do not touch the edges. Will be fine. Here. See, since I am doing with my fingers that movement, this is why I turn the canvas, because I don't want to put a lot of strain in my fingers moving against its natural movement, its natural radial movement. This is why I turn the canvas. Be very careful with your hands. Very careful is the instrument. Should I make this like this? Oh, I have an idea. I have an idea. I'm going to make it look badass. I'm going to make it look badass. It's going to say hammer. Hammer time. Hammer. Mhm. Control Shift T. Shift T. Alt T. Pass it. Command Shift. Ah, I can't because this is not a raster layer. So I will not raster it until I make it bigger. It's going to be bigger hammer like this. Okay, probably larger. Okay, probably like this. Let's make it real big. Then we will adjust. Okay. Now I will rasterize it. Now I will Shift T. Yeah. I will add more of this. Make it almost one per letter. There. Now let's curve it and squash it and make it smaller. Oh, this is not going to work. No. Yes. Something like this. But could I make it like this? Sorry, this. Ah, but then it drops differently. Okay. Okay. To make it just this, maybe like this. Okay. You will see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have it as a blue line, and then I will make all the drawing by hand using the letters as reference. So the letters are going to look like they are behind, but they are not going to be letters. They are going to be inks. My inks. My hand inks. You will see. Stay. If you stay here for a while, because you may say, I don't have time for this shit. And I don't blame you. Let's try to make everybody align with this as much as you can. See, I like this more than the liquify because I see where are the points. In liquify, I don't see. I think there is an option to see it, but liquify is messy. Messy. Liquify looks better in pictures when everything is rendered and you just want to move one thing, one couple of things you want to move. That's where liquify works best. I'm going to compress the hell out of this. Let's compress it. So I want the R of hammer to show. Otherwise, it's like Hammond or something different. Some other word that doesn't belong here. Okay, that's the R. Okay, let's strike this up a little. It's not so confusing because it's going to look confusing at the end. So the striker lines are going to help us make up what the hell is going on. Okay, maybe the H needs to show up a little bit more. So you know it's an H. I know, I don't know, an R or a B is an H. Maybe like this. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to look not perfect at all. I'm going to do this, probably this, right? So I can barely see it. And now with inks, I'm going to go like this. See? So you will see the R eventually if I keep going, and the E and the R, everything. You will see it. If I keep going, adding details. Just need to follow these lines that were before from the pencil. It's a nice trick. You will not get a pattern or a texture, a material anywhere that gets you this effect. Anywhere. And then you show me the effect. Then you show me a link where the effect is done. I'm going to be shut up. Why are you making me look bad in front of everybody? But I'm pretty sure you're not going to find it because your own hand is what makes this looks great. If you find something done or computer made, it's not going to look very hot. Well, I don't know how this is going to look either. May look like shit eventually. It doesn't work and I waste my time. That also may happen. It's basically what I had in the pencils before, but now with more correct lettering. The pencils I have very sketchy lettering, sketchy looking lettering. This is going to be not very sketchy at all. And since it's made by hand, it will help to continue giving this comic that old school look. Oh, so your comic is not done by computer, it's done by hand. Like the artists of old who draw with hands, not with some kind of virtual reality device attached to their heads. And don't try to be perfect, try to mess it up a little bit here and there when doing this. If you make it look perfect, then it will look like a filter that you find, or a material or something that you find on the interwebs. And that's not the idea. The idea is that it looks like a drawing of your own. Nobody can copy that. Everybody can download filters. Everybody can do that shit. Your own drawing, your own hand. Only you can do it. Only you can do your own hand. See, it says hammer. It's there very clearly. It's not clear at all. But it's in there. It's in there. It's not clear. If but the feeling of speed isn't there. See? And I can make a watch here. Something like this. So it's going to be hammer time. That would be stupid. And here what I got to do is just try to make more lines. But not too much. Probably just like that. And that's it. Okay? So it looks not adding sound. I wanted to feel like in the movies when there is an explosion, but instead of you hearing the the huge boom, like the camera goes mute, like you only see the explosion. That makes the explosion more serious, dead serious. Okay, and I need more lines, more lines, always more lines. Let's see here. Mhm. And now the burst lines. Saturated, saturated line is the name of this. Now the scattered saturated lines. What I'm looking for is the epicenter of the action, which is this head hitting the ground so hard that is making a crater. So this is the censure. And I go up from there, probably until here. And all the lines are going to go down into that epicenter. All the lines. And now what I'm going to look for is this an angle of the lines to fill the spaces that I think needs to be filled, and not to be in the middle of the spaces that I think feel that they are already uh, busy, right? So probably here I want this, and I want this, but I don't want this. No, this is. I think this is perfect. What I don't want is to get into the hammer, to get into the punch, to get into the silhouette of the character. I want it to be in the background, okay? And maybe what is the transformation? No, 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 no. Cancel. Maybe a little bit smaller, but the epicenter where it started, right? Okay. So I can see some of the lines over here. Just a small noise. So I'm going to mask it, and you already know how it works. This mask it and just erase where I don't want the lines to be. So I don't want the lines to be in the front of this action. Probably the back of this action, yes. I don't want the lines to break the silhouette of my character. Silhouette, the character silhouette is super important, super important. It's the it's probably the first read that you want uh, in the comic panel. First read that you want is people to see your character and see what it's doing. So you don't want anything interfering with that read, right? And then over here, maybe, well, then I can refine it. Just want to erase in general around this the silhouette, and if I see some line that is getting in the way, just get rid of it real quickly, and then that's it. Mm. Okay. It goes all behind. Even this is part of the action of the character, so I don't want interruption in there at all. See these lines, I like them because barely affects the shape, barely. And now to give it more the 3D feeling, I want these ones. So it's like it's coming from the front and then goes into the background, and when it comes around probably comes in the front, but we don't see the come around. The camera is just here. Okay, so that's how I design those scatter lines. Nothing nothing fancy, nothing too fancy. And I think this drawing is ready. This drawing is ready, and this drawing is so badass that I'm going to leave it there for a little bit. This is like my thumbnail, the thumbnail for the whole stream. Going to add the text over here. Real time drawing, Webtoon call to action, something like that. about to drink all the water. Okay, so this is the kill shot. This is the kill shot. Next one is going to be the overkill. One second, I'm stretching a little bit. Two hours in this session is fine. I can do more. I can go a little bit more. Okay? This is the kill shot. This is the overkill shot. I want to overkill it. And I want to make a meme of this one. Because taking out of context, it may be really funny. The guys will understand. The girls, maybe. Because they are different. Guys will understand what is this image taken out of context. It's like beating something really hard that is in between his legs. Looks like that. So funny. Okay. I think, yeah, for this one, either I didn't use any 3D assets. Yes, huge anatomy, B shape body, huge guy, and a lot of expression in the pose and everything. Let's go. Even his expression, his facial expression is like a little bit off. It's like, okay, this guy is in berserker mode. And I want something with this image, like the guy losing it and just beaten to a pulp. Literally, that's the last frame. There is a pulp in the floor. So beaten to a pulp, his enemy. So I want you to fear this guy. I don't want you to feel easy when he's around. Like he's too strong. It's like how Batman feels when Superman is around. He's like, okay, this guy is super strong and he's super good. But what happens if he loses control? Can we stop him? I don't know. Maybe we should be worried about the super strong guy. I want you to feel that to have that gut feeling. It's not spoiler or anything for the story. It's just I think makes the character cooler. Makes for a better character when you don't feel the character is perfect. There is a lot of chaos here. See? Scarf is not as orderly as it was in other scenes. Like now the scarf is like flying around. It's like it's not in control. Not in control. Small details for your audience. It makes you a better artist. Meaning to your art. You're not just doing portraits. Give it meaning. So his paints are so marked over his clothing. That means that's a huge pain. Since I make him so chaotic, I wanted contrast. So there is chaos, and then here is like looking what he did, and there is like self-assessment. He's like regaining control of himself, just looking up at this mess, and then he goes back to his former self and smiles a little and says, "The village is safe." This is a huge contrast from this image. I mean, from this image to this image. A huge contrast. So you can see different levels of the same character. It's a multi-layered character, not a one-dimensional character. In the drawings, nothing in the script, nothing in text. I am not telling you, I am showing you. Not do not tell me, show me. Show me the range of this character. The hands are black, right? That's not black. That's not shadow. That's not shadow. Shadow is on the things that face down, like here. Hand is facing up. Is blood. But again, I don't want to be violent with the art. So I'm just hiding it like if it is shadow, but it's not shadow. Mm, very dangerous this. Very dangerous. Okay. And the hard shadows keep keep going. So I'm going to give you an example of what I meant with this hard hard shadows concept. What I mean, allow me to explain myself. Loading the one page, the page with the color key. That means it's the color that I wanted to do. I just sit up in front of this panel for an hour and try the technique that I think is going to suit the whole comic. And I think it looks fine. And so it's the one that I'm going to use. I'm also going to use it to show you what I meant with the hard shadows concept. So as you can see here, she has shadows like this black, but it's the minimum. The minimum. Everything else is just color shadows. And color shadows is like soft shadows. Same here. She, the skin and everything else. Skin doesn't have hard shadows at all. At all. It's very bright. It's very bright looking. Very Saturday morning cartoon friendly looking. Taking into consideration the Saturday morning cartoon doesn't have woman like that. And now you are seeing this, which is a lot of hard shadows. It's because the scene is getting darker and darker and darker. We are going into darkness with this character. Meaningful art. Don't just do stuff. You're a director, you movie director. You got to direct what you're doing. The lightning, the feeling of the scene, create moods. But just look at films commentaries by the directors or analysis from other directors when like Quentin Tarantino talking about a movie he feels that is great and how he analyzes the scenes. Just look at that. It's very good entertainment. Very good entertainment. You will find something interesting. They see the scenes different. They see like all these small details, like oh look, the director is changing the chroma key colors from this scene to the other. Like this scene is green and the other scene is blue. What what they want to tell me? What are they telling me? What's happening when the scenes are blue? What we are looking around? He's telling me something, right? So everything is bright and bright and bright in this comic, and then suddenly darkness kicks in. Suddenly darkness, and I am telling you something. Suddenly hard shadows. Hard shadows and strong textures. Strong texturing here. See? This goes to black. It's like his hands went black. This one, I don't want to show that. I want you to wonder. And I don't want the violence to be first. I want the violence to be second or third or even or even none. Ooh, dangerous. See that this is the field one, the red one. If it's black, I cannot distinguish. Mhm. Forgot to add his symbol. Did I forgot his symbol in the past scenes? Okay, he falls from the ground to the ground. Boom. Here is the symbol. Here is invisible. And here is not. I won't make this no mistake. I'm going to draw it just on top. The Boers family insignia. I wanted to have a resemblance to Mjolnir, Thor's hammer in Nordic culture, not Marvel. Nordic cultures. It's like Mjolnir with wings. Saving because I don't want this little detail to escape from me. Mhm. And here, it should be here. Something like this. If I had more liberty with the violence, I will make his insignia stained with blood. Stained with blood. So I'm giving a message there. So this is the Mjolnir. Mjolnir goes like this. See? But then I'm adding extra shit here and there, adding the wings, and there's the Boar's family. Place some coat of arms, insignia, whatever you wanna call it. So if I have more liberty, I would make like there is blood. Family. People won't understand that. No, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. It's even harder when you are not famous, when you are nobody. Nobody's going to pay attention to your little messages, your cryptic messages. But it's cool that they are there. It's super cool. For a fan that likes your job, likes your work, and asks you for details, and you will have those details for those fans. You will let them know, hey guys, did you know this? Did you notice this and that? You'll be like, what? Do you have what? Yeah, did you notice how this is arranged and this shape? And then they're going to love those details eventually. They're going to love those details. I love them when I find them on the artists I like. So I'm doing the same for my readers. I'm not giving you hollow art. I'm giving you art with a lot of concepts, a lot of meaning, a lot of time invested in creating something different and unique. A lot of layers of meaning inside the same art. Even if I am just telling a story that may be compared to superheroes story, which is like the cheapest thing you can have right now. The cheapest McDonald's meal. But nobody wants to eat steaks. Everybody's looking for McDonald's meals. So here you go. McDonald's meals with a little bit more quality in the steak, a little bit more quality in the hamburger. 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. Not that much, feels longer. So here I am doing that violence. Like some blood is jumping out. This blood is not going to be red ink. It's going to be black ink. So that dark red looks pretty amazing in blood. Like if I wanted to make it more explicit, this dark red looks fucking great. It's going to be like this black. Dark red looks really good, really tasteful, not that cheap. Bright red. That sometimes is being used for blood. Sometimes blood is really dark, really dark. So this blood is going to disrupt the character's silhouette. You have noticed already that I don't like to disrupt the character's silhouette with almost anything. So when I do it, I want to make an emphasis of what is happening, what is doing that. In this case, it's blood. The blood is disrupting with the character silhouette. Uh, so you understand what is going on. It's more evident what is going on. He is like blood raged. I were one of the guys on his team, I was like, okay. Like, okay, this happens. Okay. What's the kryptonite of this guy? Can somebody tell me? Because I don't know. What happens if I say something disrespectful and he doesn't like it? Will I get that? Will I get the same treatment? I don't know. Maybe I can do something here like this. Something like this. He had stones as gloves, remember? He has stones, but the stones start to disintegrate into smaller pieces when he destroys the guys. So this hand is a little bit more naked than this one. So therefore, this one is a little bit more obscure than the other. Just details and details, layers of details, my friends. this is just not like one burst. It's like one burst overlapping the other and overlapping the other, and the angles may change. That represents the many hits that he's providing here at different angles, at different layers. And how chaotic is that? He's now not aiming with precision. He is now just uh, hammering with destruction to change the angle. So this even curve. This one is a little bit curvy. To make it into the end of the panel. Into this. Going to make the same the other side. Let's skip the burst until the next hit lands. And try to make it curvy and meet the curve of the hit. Like this. Okay. Doesn't look so hot here, but as an overall, it doesn't look so great, but as an overall, the scene looks violent, very violent. So what is first? The feast or the stones? I think the stones are the first. Not there yet. Let's create this. Here he didn't use his sword. He has a sword that is so violent that I didn't want it to use it here. It's like a chainsaw with acid. It's like a chainsaw sword with acid. And in the original script, which happens after this, so this is a prequel for the original script. He uses that sword to eliminate the target, the final boss. And he just dismember it and make it into a unrecognizable mess of blood and flesh and muscle and insides. uh, because it's like a chainsaw. It's a sword, it's a chainsaw, and it has acid. So when he uses it, like acid damage, he destroys the flesh, rips it apart into pieces, and pierces everything. It's so much damage. And I didn't want to use it here because it was already difficult to keep the violence in check, and it's a very violent weapon, weapon, weapon. So probably I'm going to make this darker with color. I don't want to introduce hard shadows here because I want like this to be light, and then it goes darker and darker. That's how I imagine the coloring in an arch, in an arch. Uh, Forgot the word. Arch. I forgot the word. I've been talking about that so much. The way a painting is structured. Composition. Fuck. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. My brain is not working anymore. Okay? An arch composition. The color. So I create a composition in several levels. There is the pencil composition, the ink composition, and the color composition. The overall composition. You have seen or the or hear me talk about the compositions on many of the frames because I want to explain how everything is created. I want to explain the process, right? This is simple, and you have it's basically a trademark of mine. This is a pyramid. That's it. Nothing, nothing too fancy. It's a pyramid composition. The pencil's composition is like an outburst, like this. That's the pencil's composition. That the first composition, the first idea was this. You can see the pencils going like that, right? And all from the pencils, like all the lines go like into an explosion. But then the general composition is like this. And then the color composition would be like this in general. So you have like your three compositions. One is complicated. The first one is complicated. The second one is a little bit simpler. And the last one is super simple. Simple. And that is how I compose the frames. Like from sometimes, not always. Sometimes I just compose it like that in several levels. It's complex because it's several movements, but it's not hard. It's not hard to came by or came out with those ideas. It's very intuitive. As I told you, if you want to do something complex, just make something not so complicated and and make it several times over, several layers to that not so complicated stuff. So the first composition, the pencil one, is uh, is movement and is that explosion, how the fists are exploding and falling into the monster, which is off camera. Of course, I don't want to show it. Uh, is more of a feeling composition, and go with the feeling. Then I refine a little bit more the drawing for the inks eventually, because the information was in the pencil, obviously. But was in the pencil thinking, okay, the inks, this is what the inks are going to show in more detail. When the pencils are clean out, which means this, they are not longer there. You will see a more clean drawing, not so much expression. Expression is the word. The pencils are expressionists, and the inks are more technical, right? More technical drawing. In fact, the inks comes from technical drawing. And so when I go a little bit more technical, it's it doesn't matter too much the expression, because the expression was already captured in the pencils. Once more, the structure. So it's a more structured uh, composition that I'm going for, right? Like all the hard shadows are inside the pyramid. And everything here is going to be lighter. That's the technical. And the colors, when I go into the colors is more aureal. It's about the aura around thing that I am painting. It's more aureal, defined. So that's when I use this. Like it's going to be a little bit lighter here, a little bit darker here, and more darker here. So it's like an aura. It's aureal, like wavelengths. Same this one. This one I'm thinking like a diagonal of lightness to darkness, and it's going to be darker the more it goes to his back, or more like following these shadows. Sorry, the other way around. The more lighter to his back and darker here, right? And this is the more dark. So it gradients down into dark. Sorry, it was the other way around. I'm not thinking properly at this hour, after so many hours of talking around. So the first design, the first composition stage is expression, just expression. The second is technical, is getting the drawing to read well, right? So the expression is already there uh, from the pencils. So I just have to make them clean and with clean lines like these lines that I just made. This is why you see me doing the line over and over again. If you have seen me doing pencils, uh, I barely change my decision in the pencils, because the pencils are expression. You don't change your decision too much, unless the line. I look at the line and I just look like shit. So yeah, fix that. Make your expression better. Right, okay, it can be done. So these fists, I thinking of them probably white with some light blue hue here and there. but it's going to look like ghost fists, right? It's like ghost fist, and the real fist here. That this happens before and this happens now, something like that. And in the aureal stage, which is the color, uh, now all the technicality has been taken care of. So the the drawing reads properly. Uh, it has the expression. So this moment I am just thinking on the aureal aspect of it, the lightning, how the light impacts the scene, and what is the color, uh, the main color in aspects of color theory. What do you interpret from the color? What do you get from the color? If the scene needs to be cool or if the scene needs to be warm. Not only talking about temperature, but talking about the color temperature. It's almost the same. Sometimes it's related. But this scene probably is going to be warm. So probably it's going to be very red, very yellow, and very orange. And this scene that I made here is super yellow. It's like quiet. It's orange and blues. It's like summer. There's chaos here, but we haven't started the action. We haven't started. So it's more aureal. It's more, how can I say, a little bit metaphysical. The composition and the thinking process. Thinking process is a little bit more of the feeling of the scene. It's the feeling. What is the feeling that I want you to give, to have? So, recapitulating, pencils are expression, inks are technicality, and colors are feeling. There is one nice way to put it. So I have been very technical talking about the inks through the whole these streams because it's the only thing that I have been doing, inks. But when I get into the colors next week or this week, uh, conversation will move towards more about the feelings of the scene, feelings that I want to communicate, or how the not just the feelings of the scene because this scene probably the feeling is rage and anger, but there are other scenes that are not so evident. Feeling of the scene might be more maybe more quiet, more neutral. Sometimes you don't have a feeling. Sometimes you just have a situation. Like the lights went down and everything goes dark. That doesn't mean that you're communicating darkness of the soul, and it may be, but probably it's just utilitarian scene, like just just the lights went down. It's just that mundane, right? Not everything is special. If everything is special, nothing is special. Probably when I finish this, I'm going to end the stream. But maybe I will keep drawing these ones off off stream because I don't think they are very hot. I maybe came back with the stream to finish this one that I think is hot. It's nice drawing. So this one is like the last badass drawing of the comic. Now the rest just serve the narrative, the script, but the action is over. So not too much to show. What is happening? It's weird. Kind of get a message, but didn't get a message. This is almost ready. Change the angle. The first end. So didn't draw this one. I'm going to make it over here. Something like this. This is, I think this is the last one. Is this the last one? Yes. Okay. I don't know if I want to add the lines there. Too much work taking out the sheet, so I'm just going to add it by hand. These action lines. Too much going on to be able to make a mask. And now it's saving recovery file. Oh, I need to remember to make the backup. Have to remember. So it goes in a little bit, goes out. Same here. In a little bit. Some other are not in. Some others. And I think this one is ready. Right? This one is ready. So make it smaller. Over there. This will be the end of the stream. I am beaten down to a pulp like the monster. We'll take a little break and maybe draw a couple more hours from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3. Probably yes. Probably a couple more hours before going to sleep. But I'm not going to stream more until the colors, maybe. Until the poster and the colors. So that would be tomorrow, maybe. Thank you very much for watching. See you next one. Bye.